Welcome, everybody, to PinstripeChronicles podcast, your best source for the best in Yankees entertainment. And I am Tats. I'm here with Rob and Donald, not Rob.
Ronald and Bob.
You know what it is? It's just been a very weird 24 hours for everybody. And before we even start, our thoughts go out to all the families of the shooting. We are thinking about you, and we hope that our elected officials stop saying to pray and start doing something about it. And it added to the emotion you saw in Trevino last night on the walk-off. Thinking about his father, thinking about all the victims. I think he said in an interview he lived an hour and a half from there, where it all took place down in Texas. It's just it was a very weird night because you're excited for baseball, but you can't help to kind of keep changing the channel for updates in the news, and it kind of the game didn't matter really. I don't know if you guys even felt that it was the game was. And I want to actually make a point that this is what sports is supposed to be for. It's a distraction from life. It's supposed to just be, it is a distraction for entertainment purposes, to get you to kind of shut your mind off a little while. What was your mood throughout that game last night? Did you have the same feeling as most of the people did?
Well, Steve Kerr, if you saw his interview pre Golden State playoff game, he said, "I'm not going to talk about basketball. Basketball does not matter." He's like, we can go. He says, because if we just start now, then people are just going to go, go Dubs, go Mavs, and just seem to put this huge issue to the side. He says, "I'm tired of people just saying, oh, I'm praying for the victims. We need to do something. Stop it. Like, these are elected officials. You're elected to protect the people. So put something in place to protect the people." Apparently 90% of the United States support some kind of measure of gun control, but it's actually because the National Rifle Association have basically held the Senate and Congress hostage in order to make sure that no gun laws are passed. That is the issue. It doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be Republican, Democrat. It's about people's lives. Kids need to go to school and not have to worry that they're going to get shot. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So something needs to change. So Steve Kerr was like, "I don't care about basketball," and he walked out. And that's amazing. That's the head coach of a team that's about to go to the finals, and that just tells you everything right now. So yeah, there's a mood that
I think that was a huge statement.
Yeah, there's a mood around the country now, and I'm sure that well, I'm sick of it too. It's a daily occurrence, man. Every time I look at the news, there's another shooting or somewhere else around the country. And it breaks my heart. The United States means more to me than anything else in the world. I absolutely adore it. It's my country, but the way that they are dealing with this very serious issue is quite disgraceful. Let's be honest. So my heart goes out to all the families for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wanted to get that out of the way. We do want to get into some baseball. Right now, we do have Chris Pizea from Talking Rivals about to jump in, and we'll start breaking down really get into the game from last night. Because it really was just a phenomenal, it was a very entertaining game. Chris, how are you today?
Good, man. Sorry, I had to drop my car off and get back. Sorry, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, the game last night, we saw that they were, it wasn't the prettiest win. It wasn't, a walk through the park. But I think being able to scrap out a win, it almost gave that mentality that we were seeing during the win streak, where they didn't give up on themselves, and they didn't just say, all right, it's just another night that it's not our night. They kept grinding back and trying to find ways to put that run across. Did you get that feeling as well? And do you think that this is something that can get them back on that, that winning streak that we've been able to see, where it's just grinding out every win?
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope so, because we got the Tampa series coming up, right? I mean, and that's a really big series. I think all of us have been looking forward to that series to see how we measure up against those guys. But the injuries now, unfortunately are starting to pile up, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got Stanton possibly getting hurt, going on the DL. DJ, hopefully that's going to be okay. Only a couple of days, but losing Green, Chapman's been a total mess anyway this year. But still, losing him is going to be huge. And then I think the key, bigger than the injuries, I think is Loizaga. I mean, he's got to step up. If he starts pitching like last year, I think we'll be okay in the bullpen. But I love how the team came back last night. I know it's just Baltimore, but and I hate to keep bringing it up, but last year was a great example. We got to win these games against Baltimore, against the lower teams. You got to win these games because last year we win one more game against Baltimore, and I think we were 11-7 against them last year. If we won one more game against them last year, that wild card game would be at the stadium and not at Fenway. And who knows? Maybe Cole doesn't poop the bed and we win that game, and who knows what'll happen in the next round. So let's hope so.
Rob, what was your feel on how they were able to come back?
It was good to see. First of all, Chris, I just want to say it's got to feel good to be around Yankees fans because I know when you're on SportsWire, you're with nothing but Mets fans. So
I get no help. I get none.
I need to help you more. I need to help you more.
We got to get on that.
Yeah, we got to do a full-on, just bring out the Yankee fan, full-on Yankee. But no, yeah, too many Mets fans. But it was good to see the Yankees come back because we need to, especially now, like you said, with the injuries. We hope that Stanton's only out for a few days minimum. Same with DJ. If we lose those two, those are two of our better hitters. And and the lineup is already struggling as it is outside of Judge and apparently Trevino now. So we need all the offense we can get, and we need to win tonight and try to have some good momentum going into this Tampa series because this is a real test because they've whooped us these last few years. And if we're going to try to prove that we're a different team this year, we got to beat Tampa Bay. We don't have to sweep them, but if you can win the series on the road in that disgusting dome, then it tells me that we're a different team, even with the injuries and all the, the bad vibes surrounding the team right now. So get a win tonight, and it was nice to see them come back and win it last night. Trevino, he's not the worst hitter in the world. He was like a 250 hitter last year, so I'm not surprised that he's starting to. But he's been kind of clutch when you think about it. He's coming up with some pretty timely hits this year, more so than Higgy and even Gary were last year. So I'll take it, and we need an offense anywhere we can get it.
I believe he's 8 for 21 runners in scoring position, either 7 or 8 for 21 with runners in scoring position. So he's batting around about 300, just over 300 with runners in scoring position lately. I have to say about Trevino, that's one of the best pickups in all of baseball. That was an absolute steal from Brian Cashman.
That's better than Rob Brantley.
We only got him for Abreu. He has been an elite catcher defensively. His pitch frame is incredible. As all the metrics that you look at for defensive catching, he's in the 99 percentile and 100 percentile in some of them. He's like an amazing pitch framer, great defense, and the Yankees are 2 runs better off with him catching. And in terms of ERA of the starters, it's a marked difference when he is catching. And that is the argument that I was always making when the Yankee fans, sorry, Rob, were trying to justify Gary Sanchez. And it was costing us runs. The ERA was up. His defense was awful. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. And we couldn't justify that any longer. Now we've got an elite catcher, and it's made such a difference to the pitching staff. Our pitching staff is incredible now, and no small part of it was to do to Trevino. And now when you add the fact that he comes in with runners in scoring position and doesn't try to do too much, that's the big thing. You look at Aaron Hicks, he's still swinging for the fences every single time and looking dumb doing it, right? But you got Trevino who knows who he is. And that's all I'm asking guys to do is know who you are, know what you can provide to improve this team. So that's what Falafi does. He's like, you know what? I'm a guy that can get on base. I can hit a couple singles and doubles here and there, right? That's what I'm going to aim to do. That's what Trevino does. And that's why they are actually good at doing their job. And then you got guys like Aaron Hicks and Gallo, that aren't doing their job properly because they're all trying to do more than they really need to do in certain scenarios. And so I just have to give immense credit to Brian Cashman. That was a smart trade, man. It really was, because if he just trusted that Rordvet would come back ASAP, then we'd be screwed. We would be completely screwed. We'd be relying on Higashioka and Brantley every single game, and you see the differences made with that Trevino trade. So I have to give Cashman a lot of credit. Now moving on to the actual comeback itself, I think that's a huge comeback, man, because when they went back 2 runs up after Mike King blew it, I was like, oh no, this could be a spiral, because things were going bad with it when we look at how the latter part of the week and through the weekend went. I was thinking, if we lose this as well with Mike King blowing it, and we've already blown the game from Montgomery, and then now we're looking at all these injuries, this is going to be tough. And then you look at losing the series to Baltimore. That's 2 series we lost to Baltimore. Had we lost yesterday, then I'd be a little bit more concerned. But that was a dramatic comeback, man. It really was. Gleyber Torres, he put the team on his back, and Falafe with a huge single to save the game in extras, and then Trevino wins it. So it was a dramatic fight back, man. And I was just really relieved, partly, and excited, because I'm loving the comebacks that this Yankee team is providing.
Yeah, Chris, I wanted to ask, what do you think is this point in the season right now, the Yankees' biggest strength and the Yankees' biggest weakness?
The strength was the bullpen, but I don't know if it's the bullpen anymore. I would say the strength, I think quite simply, it's Aaron Judge, right? Aaron Judge has been carrying us this whole season so far. Rizzo was hot for the first month, but he's kind of cooled down, but he's still hitting, he gets there, hits once in a while, and he's still got the great glove. But I think Judge is our strength. I mean, without him, I don't know where we'd be right now. The weakness, the catcher position on offense, obviously, center field and left field is our complete zeros right now, offensively. And I think Hicks and Gallo haven't been that great defensively either. At least the catchers, right? I mean, okay, Trevino's starting to hit, which is great. And I'll take whatever they give us offensively, because they've been really good behind the plate. So we'll be okay with that. But center field and left field, we got to get more production out of those guys. I think, and they've become a weakness in the field as well, not just with the bat, but the strength. Hopefully, our bullpen becomes our strength again. And I would say our rotation is the strength, because it's been consistent all year. You'd like to, Cole the other night against Baltimore. That was, he had one bad inning really, but still, he's got to pitch better than that. Has to. But the rotation, I think, has been our strength as well.
Yeah, no, I think the pitching has been the strength. Because they've kept us in games, even if they, even with Cole having that one bad inning, or a pitcher having a bad outing, it hasn't been bad enough where the games are completely out of reach.
Right.
And so I think the pitching staff, as in with the starters and relievers, has been the strength to this point in the season. We're starting to see, like you said, that the bullpen's starting to tail off a little bit. Loizaga is got to be, they got to figure him out. I think Matt Blake really needs to work with him, because we're going to need him, especially, they did finally put Chapman on the IL. They reactivated Higgy yesterday. So, you saw those 2 roster moves. So Higgy's back, Chapman's out. We know we lost Green. Luis Hill, even though he was having a rough start in the minor leagues, we're not going to see him this year. The backups are kind of depleting a little bit, and we're kind of losing our pitches that we were relying on to be called up in case of any, in case of emergency, break glass. There's no lever to pull right now because the pitching is very minimal. So it makes it, and the strength has got to be the top of the lineup. Especially, centered around Judge. Between, with LeMahieu, he was getting on base. He's been struggling a little bit, but, it might have been he wasn't feeling well. I know he's out. I think they put him on the COVID protocol. We don't know what's going on with Stanton. But Judge has really been.
Well, LeMahieu is complaining of a wrist injury. That's the issue with LeMahieu.
But they have him on the COVID.
Yeah.
That's what they listed it as.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
They put him on the COVID protocol with the wrist injury?
Yeah.
Well, I know he got a cortisone shot, so I think he's got to be out a couple of days for that.
Yeah.
Right? For the wrist. So hopefully that's. But he did take an MRI, I think, yesterday or this morning.
Came back negative.
Right? So that's
what about Stan? Have you guys got an update on Stan's
No, I haven't
injury?
seen any updates from him.
The calf injury. It's something with his calf. They
strained his
that.
calf, I think.
He's getting an MRI today as well, so hopefully.
Sadly, I think we got to expect the worst with him because we've seen him, miss so many games in the past. So, but hopefully it's not more than just the 10-day or 14-day IL.
Might have been just
a couple of days. Felt the muscle tightening up and said something before he made it worse.
Yeah.
I think he's been smarter about that. Where these players are going, I'd rather get pulled out of the game, miss 1-2 games rather than miss 2 weeks.
Yep, for sure.
So I'm hoping Stanton was smart enough to know that, and that's why he probably said to Boone, "You got to take me out."
I hope that's the case.
Yeah, so if we lose him and LeMahieu at the same time with already down Donaldson for a few days, then the suspension, we should get Gallo back today or tomorrow. That'll at least provide some pitches seen. At least he's going to see pitches more so than Florial will. You just got to hope that it doesn't start spiraling because we've already seen that when this team starts getting injuries, they don't stop. Yep. And it's already happening. We lost Green, then we lost Luis Heel. Now LeMahieu's hurt. Now Stanton's hurt. We got guys on COVID, and it's just everyone's starting to drop like flies. So you don't want to see it happen, but this is going to test the resiliency. If these guys come up and perform, I would really hope that Florial starts producing at the plate because I'm so sick of seeing Aaron Hicks. Right on cue yesterday, big opportunity. He struck out. He didn't pop out at least, so I don't know.
He did not pop out.
It's either pop out or strike out.
Yeah,
those are the only two options with Aaron.
I don't know how they walk him. Who is not pitching to Hicks?
I know. Just throw a strike.
It's unbelievable. It really is. That case you brought up, though, with him and Gallo, with Gallo, he already admitted what he is. He knows he's not going to change the kind of hitter he is. He knows he's pretty much a home run or a walk kind of guy. Aaron Hicks was never supposed to be a power hitter. And for whatever reason, he has this mentality that he's going to try to be one because hitting from the left side of the plate, he can hit 30 in Yankee Stadium. But he's always been that contact guy that can use his speed, hit doubles, and that's what he was for us when 2017 before he got hurt. He had some home runs, and then 2018, you're going to hit home runs in Yankee Stadium from the left side of the plate. It's going to happen. But 2018, he wasn't just a home run or nothing guy either. But now, since he's come back, he's like just swinging for the fences like he's Aaron Judge, and he's not. And now that's because he keeps over swinging. He's got this golf swing, so he's either striking out or he's blooping it up 90 feet in the air and it falls in the second baseman's glove every single time. I don't know how they keep using him, but now they have to keep using him because Stanton's going to be out for at least a few days. So guess what? Guess who's back in the lineup tonight? Unless they start Florial and Andujar. That's basically the reality of it.
I'm not being funny, but when you're a two-sport guy and one's golf and one's baseball, you can clearly see that he's got a golf swing when he's batting. I'm not being funny, but considering he spends most of his time playing golf, from what I hear, all his entire offseason is playing golf, not playing baseball or working out, is actually playing golf. I wouldn't be surprised if they're seeping into each other. A, the injuries, the type of injuries that he's getting, and B, the way that he swings is like he's using a sandwich. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know how they carry this, man. They can't justify this contract. I mean, literally any of us could probably give the Yankees 2 extra base hits at some point over 6 weeks time, over a 6-week period. And that's all Aaron Hicks has done. How much has he played? It's been almost 2 months. Yeah. And he's giving you like 2 extra base hits, right?
It's embarrassing.
Absolutely embarrassing. Any of us could have done that.
the problem is who's going to, like, I'm sure the Yankees would love to trade him, but who would take that contract on? It's not even that bad. That's the crazy thing. He's only getting, I think, $10 million a year for what, 3 more years or 2 more years?
Yeah.
So it's not horrible, but he's so bad that contract is like when they first signed it, everybody was mad, but I'm like, you know what? He's only getting $10 million a year.
Yeah.
All right. It can't be that bad. If he's that bad, we'll trade him, but he's that bad and we can't trade him. So
that's true.
They probably have to eat some
What
of
value
it.
does he have? Because he lounges
know.
around in the outfield. He is minus defensively now. He used to
Yeah.
be good defensively. Now he's minus. And offensively, all he can do is walk. Literally, all he can do is walk.
No, because you look at his body language at the plate and the dugout on the field. He lost all his confidence.
Yeah, way low.
Yeah, that's the problem. What do you think is going? Because now with all the injuries, it's hard to say, what to do for the Tampa series. But I'll ask it this way: what do you think the Yankees need to do right now to strengthen themselves to be able to survive a series against Tampa in that park?
Well, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it depends on Stanton. If Stanton comes back, then it's not going to be that bad, right? But if he's out for any length of time, then they got to bring someone else up, obviously. And maybe the other guy that we signed in the offseason, Inciarte, I think he was on the Braves at some point.
Yeah,
he's a Gold Glove center fielder, so I would definitely bring him up. He's a veteran too, so it's not like you're bringing up a rookie. A lot of people are saying, "I'll bring up Dominguez or Volpe." I mean, it's way too
not yet.
Way too late for those guys.
Years away from that.
Yeah, so I'm not even thinking about those guys. But I think Inciarte might get the call up for the outfield at least, and then you could start him in center, and we'll feel a little better. And let's hope and let's cross our fingers that Florial gets some kind of offense going, so this way they could feel more confident throwing him out there, and maybe Andujar gets going, because we've seen Andujar in his rookie year a few years ago. I mean, that guy's a double machine. So if he could get going somehow and not be a total mess in left field, I think in that sense we'll be okay, and hopefully DJ is only going to be out another day or two, and we'll get him back for the Tampa series. So that won't be bad. And Donaldson, hopefully he's not sick or COVID or whatever it is with him. Hopefully he gets back too. And like you said earlier, Loizaga is so key. If he can come back and be what he was last year, I'll feel a lot better about the bullpen, because the rest of the bullpen's been pretty good. I mean, King, all right, he's been pretty bad his last few appearances, but let's hope he could rebound as well.
Chris, how would you align the bullpen right now? So with Chapman on the DL, or even when he's healthy, how would you align it? Who'd be your closer? Who's your setup man? Who's your middle relief with the changes that's been going on right now and the problems?
Holmes has to be the closer now, right? I mean, there should be no question about it. He should definitely be the closer. After that, I mean, I think Loizaga is going to bounce back, so I would keep him. I would try to make him as the main setup guy. But if he doesn't bounce back, I mean, King has been kind of iffy lately too, but those are to me the main 7th and 8th inning guys that I would trust the most. Other than that, then it's like a mixed bag. Castro's been good, but he's had a couple of bad outings as well.
Peralta has been okay. Yeah,
so I think the key for me is Loizaga so much, because if he's fine, then you could put Holmes close. Be the closer, and then it's Loizaga as your 7th, 8th inning.
What the hell do they do with Chapman, even when he's healthy?
I don't know.
You can't have him close.
Yeah, I think you have to keep him as a closer, but
put him on a bus and send him somewhere else. I don't know. Get him off the goddamn team.
Listen, thank God his contract's up after this year, so we just got to try to grin and bear it, figure it out this year. But he'll be gone at least. And remember, there's 2 other guys that we're not thinking about. But I know Herman. I know a lot of people, because of what he did off. But he's on the way back, so maybe he might become a key guy in the bullpen at some point, in the next few weeks. Him, and then Britton. We might get Britton back, at the end of the year, like late August, early September. That'd be
Really?
a great pickup, man, to go
I
into
didn't
the
realize
playoffs.
that.
So we just got to get to that point. That's all.
I have to give credit to Clark Schmidt. He really stepped up yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
He provided some quality innings there, and so did Peralta. Peralta did fine.
Yep.
That was a good sign. It's going to be a little bit of mix and match, so I think Clark Schmidt will be relied upon. Looks like maybe he gained Aaron Boone's trust there with the way he pitched yesterday, because that was a tough spot coming in with the runners in scoring position with his ghost runner and doing his thing. So, I got to give him credit for that. He got through. So it's going to be a mixed, going to be a lot of mixing and matching, I think. And Aaron Boone's really going to have to do a lot of managing. He's already done a lot more managing now than he probably had to do all last year.
Yeah.
And for the large part, I think he's done pretty well. How would you assess how Aaron Boone's managed this year?
I think he's been okay so far. I don't think he's lost us any games, so I don't think he's made any bad decisions. Last year, yeah, I mean, we could pick some of the games that he probably made some, questionable decisions, but I think so far this year he's been all right. Yeah. To me, listen, if the players do their job, it makes him affect the game much less, right? If everybody does their job the right way, we don't have to worry about who's the manager. It could be one of us, and it wouldn't matter. So, if they get back onto what they were, the first month or so before they've lost this 3 in a row, it'll be fine. I don't think I don't think he'll cause any damage. If everybody does their job. So let's get our fingers crossed.
No, but I'd even be more complimentary than that. Even I would say that he's got a nice vibe in the locker room. I think that he's got a command of the locker room this year, and the reason why I say that is because I don't believe he had it previous years, because there just seems to be a bit more focus this year. The coaching seems better, it seems tighter, the base running's tighter, the fundamentals are tighter, and the mentality just seems to be better on a day-to-day basis, because last year there was long stretches where it looked, for all intents and purposes, I didn't want to be on the field for one reason or another. Yeah. I don't know why, but that was the case. I don't get that vibe this year. Actually, I get the vibe that they love coming to the ballpark, and that's a big difference. So I think this is going to be a really special team. And again, when you make comebacks like that last night, it can only help you moving forward.
I got a good question for you guys, because it seemed a little weird yesterday, and I didn't know. I was kind of iffy on it, but did you see the whole thing with Donaldson, right? Skip that for a second, but how did you think Boone reacted, and how did you think Judge reacted? Because Boone was basically, he didn't think he deserved the suspension, and it was dumb to say, but whatever. He kind of supported Donaldson in a way. Judge basically did not support him whatsoever. Yeah. Now, I'm okay with that, but I'd rather him do that in the locker room. Publicly, I would think he'd want the whole team to be on the same page, at least on.
That's a very good question, right? Let's ask the panel.
Yeah.
No, I think it was, because we had a really, we've been debating about that for a couple of days, with feelings about it. I think that it really just shows that one, even though they're all teammates and Boone's the leader, they still have their individual feelings on situations. And I think that it really mimics how the fans are as well. Some of us thought that, the action was inexcusable, the suspension wasn't necessary. Some people think it was all the suspension was just as deserved as the criticism towards what he said. So everybody has their own opinion on it, and you can't be, you shouldn't be afraid to voice your opinion, especially you're the manager of the club. You're going to be asked the question, might as well just answer it and move on. Judge is the captain in that locker room. You answer the question, you're honest with the reporters, you're honest with the fan base and the media, and you move on. So I think that they handled it very well. It's now, look, I already gave you my answer. I'm not discussing it anymore. That should be going forward.
Yeah, I think Judge answered it perfectly, and I think Boone answered it perfectly. What Boone said basically is echoing a lot of people's sentiment. It shouldn't have been said. The bickering needs to stop, but I don't think it warranted a suspension. I just think the MLB had their hands tied because it was getting national attention. It wasn't just staying in the realm of sports. It was making freaking Fox News and all those corrupt websites. So it was becoming a national thing. So the MLB is like, we got to do something. And I think Judge is, as the leader of that locker room, is like, we're not going to put up with that. Because I said yesterday on the show, Donaldson started that entire benches clearing incident twice. There were 2 incidences in Chicago and then on Saturday in the Bronx, and it was all because of Donaldson. So that basically Judge is saying it wasn't a team. It wasn't like they threw at us and we threw back, and then it was just kind of like, okay, now the tempers are flaring. It was Donaldson started the entire thing and then went back and did it again to try to get under Anderson's skin. So at that point, Judge is like, we're not going to put up with that. And I think that's a good thing that Donaldson kind of knows you might be the veteran here, but this is Judge's team, and it's going to go through him. That locker room's going to go through him. The players are going to follow his lead and not the unhinged Josh Donaldson. So
Sure.
I think they both handled it well, and I just do hope that, like Judge said, you got to move on. So when Donaldson comes back, unfortunately, they're going to ask him about it immediately.
Yeah.
So we know it's not going to go away. I just hope that when he does come back, they already had a talk about it after the game. So I'm sure him and his teammates are fine. And I just hope that once they ask him about it the first time he comes back, that's the last they do, or at least they shut it down like, hey, enough questions about it because it's over. They just want to talk baseball. So I'm hoping. But I know for a fact, because we know how the media likes to spin things and keep going for as long as they can, they're going to keep asking him about it.
I love what Judge said because it showed leadership, and I would say the word captaincy, but again, I believe the captaincy is more revered for like a Derek Jeter. But if you want a future captaincy, that kind of stuff will help your cause because he is now the leader of the locker room, and he showed that by what he said and his actions on the field. I mean, he is leading the Yankees. He is the face of the franchise. He's one of the faces of baseball, and it was really important for him to talk and speak because let's not forget that he has African American heritage. So now they're obviously, I don't, I mean, obviously there is a lot of people who don't believe it was racist. I mean, I don't necessarily believe it was racist either. However, the race topic was brought up because of it, right? And so it was important for him to to say how he felt, and I think he's representing what the locker room felt. He didn't say that by accident. I guarantee you, a lot of people in the locker room are as pissed off at Josh Donaldson as the Chicago White Sox are, because Josh Donaldson became a distraction. You just don't go there. That's what Aaron Boone said. Just don't go there. Right. And that's I completely agree with both of them. Like, I don't think Boone was overly supportive of him at all. In fact, I don't think anybody that's actually spoken has defended him, which is why I'm so surprised that there's this amount of Yankee fans that are defending Donaldson to the core when his own organization isn't supporting him. You know, you're not seeing any statement from the Yankees, from Cashman, from Boone, from right down to the captain, Aaron Judge, defending what he's done. It is indefensible. So Yankee fans need to stop defending him. It's just, there's nothing to defend. He was being an asshole. Yeah. Whether you think there's any more malicious than that, I don't know if it is or not. I think he's just deliberately being an asshole. And I think that you don't go there. There's no reason to use Jackie Robinson's name in anything other than a positive light. That's the way I've always stood by that. And I just think that the way Aaron Judge spoke, he was sort of like laying the marker down, like, this is not how we do things here in the Yankees. Like, you could just tell by his body language, the way he spoke, that that's unacceptable. And hopefully Donaldson learns his lesson, or he won't be here for very long, because there's a reason why he's been in 5 organizations in about 5 years. Most locker rooms don't like him, just do not like him. So we wait and see how things go with Donaldson. He has become a distraction, which is a shame, because it was a train that this Yankee team was on, and he derailed it. So hopefully, and it wasn't anyone else that derailed it. It wasn't Anderson, and it wasn't the media. It was him that derailed it. So hopefully we get the train back on track, and he buys in line with what it means to be a Yankee, man. You don't do that shit as a Yankee.
Yep. So
Yeah, I could go either way because, listen, I know between the white lines and in every sport, not just in baseball, a lot of things are said. A lot of people talk trash to each other, but definitely he went over the line with the Jackie thing because supposedly now Anderson is saying that he told him a couple of years ago, all right, I'm not going to talk to you anymore if you keep calling me that. So
There you go.
right, if he should have stopped, then I get it. So he's basically just trying to get under his skin. It has nothing to do with race. It's just trying to get under your skin and to try to get you off your game. And I get that part because there's a lot of those guys out there. You guys as Ranger fans know, if you remember Avery back in the day, right? That's exactly what that guy did, right? So there's players like that in every sport.
Yeah.
But we haven't had one of them in a while, right? So it is what it is. And you know what? Cashman knew that that's what this guy was when they brought him in.
That's true.
They knew it. He knew it. And this is what he wanted. He wanted it more, I think, in the locker room than I think on the field.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you know what? It is what it is. Hopefully the leadership of the team is just going to kind of, squash this and tell them, listen, do what you do, but don't go over the line.
I mean, to be fair, I think you got a point there. Tony La Russa did. We not mentioned in the previous podcast. Tony La Russa did stir the pot. He was the one that brought up racism. He was the one that said that there was a racist statement there. Anderson didn't say that. He said it was disrespectful, and Tony La Russa did stir the pot, and he also stirred it during that telecast. If you watched on the ESPN game where it was just all about this race topic, and La Russa really fed into it, and he was like, "Oh, you hear the fans booing," and then he's like buying into this whole narrative that everything's racist, and I think he was the one that stirred that pot. I don't think there was any racism at all. I just think he's being an asshole.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to say it. Exactly. So, and here's the other thing. Why didn't Grandel, the catcher, get suspended? He's the one that caused the whole bench clearing thing, right? If he doesn't approach Donaldson on the field when he did, none of this would have happened, right? It would have became an afterthought. After the game, Anderson might have said something about it, and then it would have been squashed. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I said yesterday because Bobby basically asked the exact same question. Grandal was defending his teammate though, because again, Donaldson was going out of his way to start something with Anderson for no reason, because it wasn't like Anderson was doing anything on that game for Saturday that was supposed to start. Then Donaldson, you can see it. He's getting off second base and he starts laughing, "Hey Jackie," and Anderson again has already said, "I'm not your friend." So enough is enough, because he already told him in 2019, don't do that. So he's doing it again 3 years later. He's like, "Don't do it. We already got tensions from a week ago, and here you are doing something I told you not to do." He's pissed, and Grandal's like, "Well, you pissed off my teammates, and I gotta have his back." So I understand, but again, if you want to find who's responsible for everything, Josh Donaldson. He is solely responsible for this whole thing, and it doesn't help that La Russa stirred the pot the way he did, that old fart. And I don't know why he's the first person to speak that word. I'm not even gonna get into that. He's an asshole too, but yeah, it was a whole mess, and I'm just glad it's.
Let's just hope it goes away now.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, because we need to be talking about this team, because this team's a good team, man. There's a lot to be excited about.
Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, that's how I want to close this out. I wanted to ask, what's your overall analysis on how the division has been playing out? Do you think that the way the standings are now, this is the way that we're pretty much going to see it going out throughout the year, or do you see one team falling off and another team just really just kind of making a complete rise up the rank?
I could see it. I'm hoping it ends this way with us being up top. I don't think we're going to fall that far. I think either way, we're going to be a playoff team. Hopefully we can hold up. I mean, if no other injuries hit us, nothing really major, I think we'll be fine. I think we're a first place team here. And the rest of the division, listen, Tampa is always going to be up there, right? I don't think they're going to fall away.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
Whoever they bring up, they could. If we joined their team, they would still be fine. So, yeah, it's just amazing. You couldn't name 10 guys on that team, but they're always up there. So I could definitely see that. Toronto's the one that's kind of iffy. It was funny. Before the season started, Patrick was like, you know what? They're going to be the Padres this year. They're going to be the team that comes in with all the hype, and then they're going to fall apart. So he might be right. I don't know.
He nailed it.
Right. I told him, I don't think so. I think they got too much talent, but it's a possibility. So that would be the one team you could see kind of going back and forth. Boston now is starting to get, their offense going. So, Sale is starting to work out. So you never know. In another month, we might see him. So I don't know. I would think it's going to stay like this. I still believe in Toronto because they got enough talent there. They got good pitching. Their rotation's very good. Bullpen, I don't trust that much, and their lineup, at least half of it is dangerous. The other half is, mediocre. To me, like after you have 4 guys, it becomes kind of mediocre. So, but I think Toronto will be enough there. My prediction was Yankees, Tampa Bay, and then Toronto. Or no, I'm sorry, Toronto, Tampa Bay, then the Yankees, and then 4th place. I didn't think Boston was going to make the playoffs this year. So
you had the Yankees in 3rd place.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so did I actually.
I thought playoffs, but I would say wild card. But I think right now they got a chance at the division. So let's hope it stays this way. Now I think it can stay. As long as we
I agree with you, man. I had 3rd place, and I'm overjoyed that I was that I didn't believe in this team as much as I should have. I actually should have believed a lot more in this team. This is a really good team. I think what I like about this team was different from previous years is that yes, they hit home runs the majority of the time. Most of their runs are provided by home runs. However, they've got a better ability of doing the little things, and fundamentals is still really, really important about baseball. And I'm glad that they've kind of refocused on that, because last year they just thought the home runs and walks was all that mattered. And the defense was terrible and the base running was terrible. But see, when you hire guys like Luis Rojas, who's now made a real focus on base running and fundamentals and stuff like that, and then you got Aaron Boone, who's just a lot more focused, and he just seems a little bit more comfortable in his skin this time around. You're just seeing a much better managed team, and in general, and the attitude and focus is better. So yeah, I think this team's going to win the division now. I feel pretty happy about it. Just before we finish off, obviously the big topic would be, how would you approach this Aaron Judge situation now, because he is on a historic run? Would you present a contract offer ASAP, or would you play it out? How would you do it?
Well, he said he doesn't want to talk about it right during the season. So I would, I don't want to mess anything up right now. He's concentrating on the game. I would hate to, approach him with a contract, and then what if he turns it down? Then it becomes an issue, right? So for me, I'm like, they already made their bed, right? They put their offer up. He didn't want it, and he says, I don't want to talk about it until the off season. So I would respect his wishes in that sense and wait till the off season. And that's if the Yankees are going to up their offer. I still don't think they will. I think they might offer it. They might a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be to the point where what he wants. And I still think there's going to be a team or two that's going to, blow us away if we don't go higher, right? And I think it's going to be either, I like San Fran to make that offer, and I also think St. Louis too. They both don't have a lot of money. They have like about $100 million going into next year. So they could easily offer him, whatever he wants, whether it's $35 million a year or whatever, and give him the extra year or two that we didn't want to give him. So I still think the Yankees, my thinking was, are the Yankees going to say, oh, okay, we were wrong, we'll offer you what you want? I can't see them not bowing down to him, but, like admitting that they were wrong. Like, I've never seen them do that, right? They didn't do that with Cano most recently. I can't see them doing that with him. So as popular as he is, they're still going to hold on to. He's going to be entering his age 31 season. We're not going to give this guy 9 years at 30, whatever he wants, 35 million, 40 million, whatever it is. So, but a team will do it without a doubt. I San Fran, because that's, he came from California. That's the area he grew up in. So you would think they would attract him, so
Well, let's not discount, Steve Cohen willing to spend.
Oh, him too. I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be. Listen, for every free agent, you're going to hear his name, right?
Yeah.
So,
don't you think, Rob? Don't you think that the Yankees will be forced to up their offer?
They better up their offer because they're going to lose him if they don't. If they want to go to the All-Star break and at least approach him with it, like, hey, do you think you want to talk? And if he says no, then okay, then you just wait till the offseason. But if he has a season at the pace he's carrying right now, he's going to hit 50 at least, right? So if he has a season, if he finishes anything close to what he did in his rookie year where he won the MVP, I don't care what the official stat sheet says, he was the MVP.
yes.
He probably wins another one if he has that kind of a season.
True.
And they don't up their offer. He will be a Met or he will be a Giant. And it's a shame because, again, we talked about this already yesterday. The guy prints you money. He's a walking ATM because you can give him $300 million, let's say. You're going to get that back in jersey sales and shirts, and people are going to buy the makeshift robes and the gavels. They're going to pay to sit in the judges' chambers, and they're going to it writes itself. He's a freaking walking checkbook at that point. So give him the blank check. I mean, you got to be reasonable, yeah, because he is going to be 30. But if the big uphold is he wants an 8th year because he wants it to be this only contract, because I'm sure he doesn't want to play past 40, but he's going to be 38, 39 by the time an 8-year deal ends. If that's what it takes to keep him here for the rest of his career, to make sure that you drafted him, he was a homegrown Yankee, and hopefully you get a championship or two out of it. I mean, that's all you can ask for, and people are going to continue to buy his jersey because he's already the top-selling jersey for the team and one of in baseball. So he has been since 2017. It writes itself that you have to do it, and if you lose him, the fans are going to revolt.
Yeah, no one signs guys for the latter part of their contract anyway. I mean, listen, do you think the Yankees were thinking that they're going to expect Garrett Cole to be exactly the same in 7 years' time to when they signed him over that 9-year deal? I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean, they're obviously signing him for the initial 3-4 years, right? And that'll be exactly the same for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge will be at his peak for the next, I would assume, 4 years, 5 years at the most. And then that's why you just need to offer him what it takes. You just get it done, man. Now, this is why it's going to be difficult for the Yankees because Robinson Cano, I agreed with them not offering what Cano wanted. I didn't agree with it, and to be honest, they were right not to because you've seen what he became. But and then when you look at Derek Jeter, when he reached free agency, Cashman told him to test the market. He did so knowing that I think every other team in the majors knew that Derek Jeter only wanted to be a Yankee and wanted to retire a Yankee. And so I think Cashman just played that hand. He knew that was going to turn out that way. Obviously, it hurt Derek Jeter's feelings, and they've never repaired that relationship. But you can't do that with Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge is not like Derek Jeter, and I think other teams would be loved to jump in and take a 40, 50 home run guy off the best team in baseball, especially market-wise and optic-wise. I mean, he's a SoCal guy, so there is an opportunity where a California team could maybe jump in. But that's why you can't play with this. You can't play with this. And also, back when Derek Jeter was the Yankees were the team. No other team could approach them, and especially not the Mets, and especially not the Red Sox, or especially not any California team, or especially not the Dodgers. Now we're in this new era where the Mets are outspending the Yankees, the Dodgers are outspending the Yankees, and a bunch of teams are as good. Then now you can't play around. If you got a star like Aaron Judge, especially one that aspires to be a captain, you can just tell by his demeanor. He wishes to be, I think he wants to be a future Yankee captain. Then you just need to make it happen, man. He's definitely not Robbie Cano. He's not going to collapse like Cano. And he's, when Derek Jeter hit free agency, he was on the downside of his career, and I think other teams kind of knew that too. Aaron Judge is right in his prime. So You can't mess
flip
around.
side to what you're saying, and I'm agreeing with you guys. So I'm not, but the Yankees are going to say the reason why we're doing this is look at Cano, right? They're going to bring up all these examples. They're going to say, look at Cano, look at A-Rod. A-Rod completely went downhill his last 2 or 3 years, right? But those guys were connected to steroids.
Yeah.
Judge was not. The only thing with Judge, and I think this is what is making them think twice about it, is just the size. His size, his body frame, we've never seen in baseball. So I don't think they have like a reference to say, okay, we've seen big guys, kind of collapse towards the end. Like we've never seen a guy like Judge play baseball. So that's why I think their thinking is, listen, we're going to give him this offer. And to them, that was a pretty good offer. And I think to most people, $30 million a year is a pretty good offer, for a baseball player. But, the union, I think, is in his ear saying, listen, you're the big free agent. You got to set the market, right? So, and he's kind of stuck. I bet you if there was another player out there that got a bigger amount, right, first, and he was going to be the second guy, I don't think he would have as much pressure to get that big deal. I think then he would be like, you know what, $30 million a year for the next 7 years to play right field for the Yankees, being the main guy. They're probably going to name me captain, right? At the end of the day, I'm probably going to get not a monument, but I'm probably going to get my number retired and all that. So you know what? Maybe I'll stay for $30 million a year. That's not bad. But I think the union and his agents probably like, listen, you're the top guy. You got to set the market. You got to be that guy that's going to boom, 35 million, whatever it is. So it's a tough decision.
What was the offer? 32 AAV? That was the offer, right? 32 AAV?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right around that.
So Correa's on what, 35 AAV?
He's a little bit I think he's like 34 or something like that.
Yeah.
But if Texas is willing to give Corey Seager that contract they did, there's no reason the Yankees can't give Judge.
That's right. Exactly.
That money.
That was
well, the other thing that the Yankees might do that we mentioned in the offseason is they might, keep the contract the way it is, but add things on the incentive level, milestones, stuff like that. I think that would, maybe help, keep his interest in staying where the Yankees don't have to commit to that long-term deal and go into the 8, 9, 10-year mark. I think they might have to go to 8, just to give him a little security that this is going to be, he's not going to worry about another contract. This is going to be his one and only contract probably in baseball. So he's going to want to try to get as much as he can, and he has every right to do that. The Yankees just need to be smart to make sure that you don't overpay so much where on the back end you are just broke.
Right.
But you need to make sure, but it goes on the other side of the pendulum is like what Rob said, he's a walking ATM machine for the Yankees, between the merchandising, the ticket sales, the people that are going to see him play, it's the impact he's having on the team this year, the impact he has on the locker room, all that value. The Yankees better up their offer. It doesn't have to be monstrous. You don't need to pay him, $40 million a year, but you got, I think they'll go into the 35, 36 range and
I wonder,
add the extra year.
I wonder if the possibility of acquiring Juan Soto during the offseason becomes a reason why they say, you know what, we're not going to raise it. We'll let him go and give up 3 or 4 of our best prospects and bring in Soto, who's 8 years younger than him and plays the same position, obviously not a home run guy as him, but he's definitely one of the best players in baseball. Bring him in 8 years. We'll sign him to a 12-year deal, over $400 million, whatever it's going to be. I don't know. But I wonder if that's like a reason why they're not going big with Judge, not going a little bit extra mile for him. Are they just like, nah, you know what? We could always get Soto this offseason.
I highly doubt they give up the prospects for Soto. They were not willing to give up. If they've bet so much of their future on Volpe, and it's going to take Volpe and then some, there's no shot unless Kiner Falefa starts turning into an absolute stud this year and next. But they just like, okay, well, that's our shortstop. Or they call up Peraza, and he's just so good that they're like, all right, Volpe's expendable. I doubt they give up Volpe. Because to get Soto, you're going to need Dominguez, Volpe, every pitching prospect in the system.
It's going to take all those guys for sure.
I mean, Dominguez for sure. I mean, yeah, they'd want Volpe. Probably Volpe will be off the table. Maybe they'd accept Peraza as an alternative, along with Dominguez and a top pitching prospect, and maybe somebody else.
It's also that other, are they willing to sign him to like a 12-year?
That's it.
Whatever it's going to be.
That's the key. We have easily enough in the system to make the deal a couple times over. That's not the question. The question is, will Hal Steinbrenner sign off on having 3 guys in the outfield, all with at least $200 million contracts, all tied to them long term? Aaron Judge, Stanton, and him. I don't see it, and I don't think that Cashman would
not both.
Allocate that resource.
Not both.
I just don't see it.
If they keep Judge, let's forget about Soto. I'm saying if they let Judge go, then it becomes a problem. I don't think. No, you're right. There's no way they could get both. No, I don't think.
Although it'd be a dream, it'd be a wet dream for all Yankee fans, right?
I would love that. I would sign off on it.
Absolutely.
I just can't see the Yankees, just cutting, not, they're going to make as much, they're going to make an offer where if Judge says no, it's going to make him look bad, not the Yankees. I think that's the way that if they do lose them, that's how it's going to play out. Look, we gave Judge Eddie, we were willing to give him. You didn't want it. We can't risk, we can't sign him until he's 42, 43 years old. So the Yankees, I think, they need to be very careful how they let this play out in the media.
And you know what? The Yankees know. Okay, worst case scenario, we let Judge go, right? And if they get Soto or not, they'll get somebody else that's going to be a star on this team. That's going to make them $1 billion with the shirts and all that stuff. It's going to happen, right? The Yankees do that. That's what they did with. Why do you think they brought in A-Rod? Not just because he's a great player, but he also got the ratings up. The crowd started coming back and all that stuff. So I don't think it's a matter of. I think they know he makes them money. I don't think that's but I think they also think, listen, we're the Yankees. It's the jerseys that sell, not the player. That's their thinking. There's no name on the back of the jerseys, right? So just remember that. They'll bring someone else in. It's not going to be, I'm not saying they're just going to bring somebody up and he's going to become Aaron Judge, but they're going to go out and get a star and put him out there and say, that's our next guy. I'm just shocked. I'm still surprised that they did the whole Judge's chambers for him in right field because they've done that for nobody.
That's true.
That's the thing, because you mentioned the jerseys, right? When you see 2, even with no name, you know who that is. Absolutely. When you see 99, you know who that is. It ain't Brian Bruni. No one's wearing a Brian Bruni jersey, right? So you know who 99 is. Like that jersey, it may not, and there's a lot of Judge jerseys with the names on the back.
I agree.
You know who that is. So 99 is his number. And so like that's why I say he's basically, you're buying a Yankee jersey, but you're not seeing that many Stanton jerseys, and he's a stud, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing them 99s everywhere, and who that player is.
I agree. But all I'm saying is the Yankees will say, okay, we got rid of one superstar, we'll bring in another. Like I think that's what they're thinking. It's like, listen, we'll give him this offer because he is exactly what we're talking about. But we could also get someone else to do that, and maybe Soto is their backup plan, and they're willing to give up, whoever these 4 or 5 prospects are going to be. I don't know.
I mean, if they let Judge walk and the alternative was you get Soto, I don't think fans would be that mad. I mean, we'd be upset that Judge.
If you let him walk, you better land Soto at any.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It better not be another Joey Gallo who's batting 180 or
right. That'd be the fear. Is like, the Gallo would be cheaper, so we signed him to a 5-year deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Then fans would be like,
that's a great point. That's a terrifying point.
And you better hope that Soto could also handle playing in the Bronx.
No, he'll be fine. That dude, he's even at 23, he's got the personality of like a freaking 10-year vet.
He's already been in the World Series, like he's already done it. So
yeah,
he'll be fine.
But and think about it, like when we let Cano walk, was there a lot of people really arguing that? I'm sure a lot of people were like, oh, just give him the money. But you know what? It worked out for us. But at the time, we offered him more money per year.
Yeah.
Right? So
he wanted the years.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it was. Seattle just offered him one extra year, and he's like, "Okay,
Seattle
I'll
offered
him
3 extra. 3 extra.
3 extra."
Yeah, I think
Seattle blew us out of the water with the years, and that's where we drew the line.
Like 7 for something. I forgot what the exact number was.
I think ours was 7 for 180, and theirs was the 10 for 240.
Right.
I would never ever give Cano 10 years. That was just crazy, insane. No. So Cashman was right about that. I do trust that they'll come to the right conclusion with it. But Aaron Judge has to finish his career as a Yankee, and he has to resign. I'm sure they'll do what it takes. And I think I think the Yankees do need to get a bat. I think Benintendi makes all the sense in the world if they can make a deal for Benintendi by the deadline,
or even Happ.
Happ would be really good too. Yeah, you want somebody that can make contact and just add some protection for Stanton and Judge in the lineup, because at the moment there's not a lot of protection outside of Torres for these big bats in the middle of the order. So they definitely need to add an extra bat for me.
The reason I think that you could see him going after Happ, there's rumors swirling that we'd want Contreras and Happ because they're both under contract next year. And I think
Contreras is a rookie. I mean, a free agent after this year.
I think he has one more year of arbitration, but I might be wrong. I'm not. I have to double check. I know Happ has another year at least of arbitration. But those are the kind of players that Cashman likes to get.
That'd be great. I think that's a good move. Give up a couple. You're probably going to give up a couple of decent prospects for him, but I think it's worth it. Maybe we can throw
Happ is better than anything we've put in center field this year besides Judge. So
can we give him Hicks or Gallo in that deal? Just to we'll pay the contract. Just get him off our team.
I'll fly them to whatever destination they want.
Right. Yeah.
We'll take a pack of Tic Tacs for Aaron Hicks at this point if they got him off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Contreras is a free agent in 2023. So
okay. All right.
Well, that is going to wrap things up for us today. Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen with the Judge contract. What do you think about losing him and bringing in Soto? Let us know how you feel about that as well. Remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on sportname.com/player. Northeast Streaming Sports on Roku. Wear your pinstripes for pride.
And can we just throw that? Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime you want me on, just give me a call.
And could you plug our listeners, considering Tats, our incredible host, forgot to ask that. Could you let our listeners know where we can find you?
I'm on Talking Rivals, at Talking Rivals. Me and Patrick, we talk about the Yankees and Red Sox, and we throw in all of baseball too, but we try to specify Yankees and Red Sox. But catch us everywhere. Talking Rivals podcast, the usual spots, Spotify and Google and Apple and all that. And we're also on sportsanarium.com/player. And you can follow me at CP7NY. You can follow Patrick at Patrick Trotty. And the show is at Talking Rivals on Twitter as well. So, and thank you again, guys, for having me on. Whenever you guys want me on, just let me know, man.
Love to. Thank you, man.
I love talking to you guys. This is awesome.
Yeah, same here.
We will definitely talk soon. We got to get Patrick on with you too for the Boston series.
Yeah,
we'll have our brawl. All right. Have a good day, everybody.